Tornadoes, hail, high winds, and a blizzard were the big weather story yesterday. But things are finally quieting down with some light snow falling through the Great Lakes, rain showers moving into the east, and a new system crashing in out west. We'll have all of the details, plus a new threat emerges for severe weather. We'll talk all about that, take a look at our long range, and have a couple of other fun segments that you won't want to miss. So stay tuned. A new episode of Cold Rain's Weather World starts right now. Hello again, and welcome into Cold Rain's Weather World, where we talk about the current weather, the upcoming weather, and we have a few fun segments along the way. Sometimes those are weather related, sometimes they're not. So maybe you'll learn some weather things and maybe you'll learn some non-weather things today. But welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the like button if you like the content, and comment in the comment section. I'd love to pray for anything going on in your life. So if there's anything we can pray for here, please note it in the comment section if you feel led to do so. Otherwise, leave a comment about the show, a suggestion, or a question for me or about the weather. I'm happy to help out in any way I can. I'll answer each and every one of those comments. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this whole subscribe, like, comment thing a little bit later in the show. But today's agenda is going to be our daily weather recap, which we call our 2-minute drill or weather blitz or whatever you want to call it. And we'll give you a quick rundown of what's going to happen over the next 3 to 4 days, so you can be prepared as you kind of go about your business, wrapping up the work week into the weekend. And then we'll get into the next threat that's on the horizon, which is severe weather, potentially in parts of the South and Tennessee Valley. We'll take a look at that, and we'll take a quick peek at the long range, which is kind of a carbon copy of what we've seen the last several days, so really maybe as much as a week. So we'll take a look at that and wrap up the show. The first thing that we do, though, is our trivia question. So we're going to start there. So today's trivia question is sometimes talked about in the context of weather folklore, and you'll know what I mean in a minute, particularly in the wintertime. So here is the question. We'll have the answer at the end of the show, as we always do, but here is the question. What phenomenon causes the halo around the sun or the moon? Is it dust storms, pollutants in the atmosphere, sunspots, or ice crystals in cirrostratus clouds? So that is the question of the day. That's our trivia question. If you know the answer, which you probably know the answer to this one, if you know it, put it in the comment section. If you don't, then wait till the end of the show and I will get to it here shortly. Okay, that's our trivia question for the day. Now, we're going to start here with yesterday's storm reports. So this is hard to see, so I'll zoom in, but you can see where we talked about the severe weather threat was in Illinois and Indiana. Fortunately, there was not enough instability to create really intense thunderstorms that were able to take advantage of the rotation, and so we did not see that many tornado threats. We just saw a couple here in Illinois. I think someone in Perkin and also in Mackinac saw a tornado there. Some spotters saw those, and we saw lots of wind reports, winds gusting into the 60s, into the 70s in spots, and these little green little green blips, if you want to call them that, little dots, are hail reports. Most of the hail reports were in the 1-inch range or so, so nothing too terribly significant, but we did see several severe reports as we expected in these areas. That was our target, and then a couple back down into here, into Tennessee and Kentucky. So it wasn't a really regionally widespread outbreak, just sort of this upper Midwest, kind of a typical spring severe weather episode. So that's what we saw yesterday. Blizzard conditions brought snow back from Kansas to Nebraska to Iowa up to Minnesota, Wisconsin. You guys saw quite a bit of snow in some of these areas. Thunder snow with rates of 2 inches per hour. 10 inches fell in some spots. Kind of a heavy wet snow blowing around. I saw reports of winds gusting into the 60s with thunder snow. That's just insane. You can't drive in that for sure, and you don't even want to be out in that, really. But very, very hazardous conditions. That is all settled down today, and we are finally watching this system. So let's get on to our satellite image here, and this is our really the start of what we call our 2-minute drill. And so we just kind of run through the weather briefly over the next few days. And we'll start with our satellite. You can see that system here. It's kind of wound up now. It's had a beautiful comma head shape yesterday. It's kind of dissipated as the system has matured and occluded. Now you've got this cold front with this dry punch coming in. We saw that in the water vapor image in the little teaser segment. So line of showers moving to the west coast, or the east coast rather, and some snow showers falling up into Michigan. A new system is moving in out west. You can see that jet stream. Look at this, just plowing into the west coast, bringing clouds and precipitation showers and snow out there. Our radar, little bit active here in the Pacific Northwest. You can see if I pull it this way a little bit, look here, you can see rain coming in. Look at all this rain coming in off of the west coast. That's pointed right into the northwest. We'll come back over here and take a look at what's going on. I'll put this into motion. You can actually see this. So some snow showers out here in the Rockies, up into the Bitterroots and moving into the northwest. And then we've got a little bit of light snow here in Michigan falling, and some rain on the east side of that. Temperatures up here are generally above freezing, so this is not really going to be heavy snow that sticks and accumulates. And then we've got a line of showers moving up through the Ohio Valley, about to approach the east coast. And then showers down here moving through Florida, the Panhandle, Tallahassee, into southern portions of Georgia, Augusta, up to Columbia. Looks like the old North Carolina split here. Cold rain lives right in here, and so cold rain's not really getting any rain at all. There's actually some clouds up there, but not sun's peeking through as well. If we look up here, we kind of zoom in a little bit. We can see up through Lansing, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Charlotte. You guys are experiencing some light snow. I was looking at some of these obs earlier, and it's just not a lot going on here. It's light snow with temperatures in the mid-30s generally. And then rain moving into Jackson, over to Ann Arbor, into Detroit. So that's your radar update. Now, if we look at the temperature map, a little bit cooler than yesterday. We had a big surge of warm air already working in at this time yesterday. This is about 10:30 now. But you can see temperatures generally in the 30s. It's going to be cooler, of course, in the higher elevations, so you're seeing 20s. But up here along Billings, Bismarck, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, temperatures up in the 30s. Really, really warm on the west coast, where you've got this strong southerly fetch ahead of the cold front moving in. So 40s and 50s all up and down the coast, 70s down here in Florida, but cooler in Texas. Look, we're back here at Odessa, 44, Dallas, 50, Memphis, 42. So a little bit chillier out there today. Might want to wear a jacket if you're out and about. A little bit of wind with this cold front too as it approaches the east coast, so it's going to be a hat day. Hold on to your hats and as you get along the east coast, but it'll be nice until that rain moves in, so enjoy the morning and afternoon. That rain will work in later this afternoon. So look at here, this map was really lit up yesterday with all kinds of warnings. Today really we don't see all that much. We just see some winter storm warnings along the west coast, where in the higher elevations, as that system pushes in, you're going to see quite a bit of snow in the Cascades here. In the heartland section down into the plains, really up and down the Great Plains, you're seeing red flag warnings again, where the air has dried out behind the system. Gusty winds are blowing 30s, 40s, and you're going to see nothing like the 60s that we saw, but warm conditions, dry conditions, windy conditions, exacerbating the fire threat out here and again along the Gulf Coast. And we've got freeze warnings and watches up here in Georgia and Alabama. So really it'd be chilly down here, and then some wind advisories up where it's going to be a little blustery out on up in the Appalachians, generally here along the East Coast. So we'll take a quick peek at your precipitation outlook the next couple of days, and snowfall outlook too. So running this through, this was earlier this morning, get this up to current, and you can actually see that snow that's actually falling now through Michigan. We'll put this on into motion. So a little bit of light snow there. That'll taper off as we go through the day, light snow moving in out west. And then over the next, so we get into tomorrow overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, we start to see a low pressure develop off the coast. We've been watching this last couple of days. This is going to bring some rain and then eventually some snow on the backside over the course of Friday afternoon into the evening, and then snow pushing in out west along with some rain in the lower elevations, of course. And then we get into Friday afternoon and evening, we see that snow wrapping up. So places like Portland, Bangor, you could pick up some snow. And then, of course, in the Rocky Mountains, Bitterroots, Cascades, you guys are going to see some snow out there, several inches of it, in fact. And if we take a look at our total snowfall, we'll just put this on through, see the whole thing go across. and several inches of snow out west, more than a foot of snow in some of these higher elevations. This is what's fallen already. I doubt much of that's on the ground because temperatures are above freezing, so I'm not expecting much accumulation here. Up in the north, very, very northern part of New England, up around Caribou and places like that, you're going to see in the, in some of these higher elevations, you'll see a few inches of snow. And then in the southern elevations on the upslope side or the western facing slopes, you'll see a few inches, maybe an inch or two, or as much as 3 up in maybe West Virginia. So that is your quick snowfall outlook from the NAM. Now, let's take a look at our Atari map, and you can see sort of the same thing. So rain and snow mix along the Great Lakes Midwest, that will end and change. Much of what you see along the East Coast here is just very, very light shower activity ahead of that front, and the storm system pushing on as we saw before. That will continue out west. Little clipper moves through the Great Lakes with some light rain and snow activity tomorrow. Most of this is going to be rain, but you may see some snow showers in the upper portion of the Great Lakes, the UP of Michigan and so forth. And then that little system is wrapping up tomorrow afternoon. That'll bring rain and change over to snow in the Northeast. Everybody else is going to have a nice day down into essentially the lower half of the country. So get outside, enjoy the weather tomorrow. If you can get off work early, have a good time, go to the park, walk the dog, hold on to your hats along the East Coast. It's going to be a little bit windy there. And then as we get into Saturday, we start to set the stage for a little bit more activity here in the central portion of the country, Central Plains, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois. General thunderstorm activity. There's a marginal risk of severe here. That risk intensifies a little bit along the deep south and Tennessee Valley as we get in Sunday into Monday. We'll look at those risks here in just a minute. Your temperature profile over the next couple of days. Let me show you something real quick first. So we talk about the temperature profile, and let's take a quick peek here, okay? So this is your average temperature. So really 30s across where you see this darker blue, 40s in the lighter blue. So 30s and 40s across the northern tier of the country. Obviously chillier in the higher elevations. 50s across 50s and 60s across the center, and then 70s, even some 80s across the south. This is for March. Obviously, these highs increase as we get through the month, but that's when we talk about relative to average. Those are your average highs typically across the country. Now, our actual temperatures, if we take a look here, we're going to see this afternoon 40s and 50s across the north, so really above average, and then 50s across the center of the country with some 60s, so average to a little bit maybe below in spots, and then 60s and 70s down here, so a little bit below average across the south. But it's still going to be a nice day. It's going to feel good. Get outside where you've been dealing with winds, dust, severe weather. You can get outside and enjoy the afternoon today. Tomorrow warms up even more, chilly along the north, a little bit chillier up in the northeast after that system pulls out. And then we've got nice weather along the southern tier. So go outside. If you can get off work early, go to the park, walk the dog, man, have a good time. Cook out this weekend, Saturday. It's looking very, very nice for barbecues and outdoor activities. Yeah, we got 70s, 80s, even close to 90 down here in southern Texas. So southern tier is going to be nice. Get outside, enjoy the weather. A little chillier across the north, but again, this is not too bad, right around average for you guys. And then Sunday, finishing out our weekend, again, near average up here in the north, sort of the northern tier. And then we get into the south again. It's just a nice day with potentially, as we get into Sunday, we're going to start to see some activity in the way of severe weather. So that is your 2-minute drill, your weather blitz. I'm going to come up with a new name for it here soon, and we're going to rebrand a couple of things on this site. But that is your weather daily roundup. So to continue our etiquette training, we will read again from our favorite book on the subject matter, George Washington's Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior in Company and Conversation. And so I have put the acronym on the screen because it's too long to write. So we're going to read rules 2 and 3 today. So rule number 2, when in company, put not your hands to any part of the body not usually discovered. So be careful where you scratch in public, okay? Now, rule number 3, show nothing to your friend that may affright him. Do not affright your friends or anyone else in company. So that is George Washington, and he has a good word for us for etiquette. Now, I wanted to share one more interesting tidbit with you. We'll do this from time to time where we have a little fun fact. It might be about weather, it might not. Today, it is about weather, and so Did you know a cloud can weigh as much as 1 million pounds? Even though they float, clouds are extremely heavy because of all of the water droplets inside. So if you condensed all that down, it would be potentially 1 million pounds of water. You would need an awfully big scale for that. I don't think they make Ozempic for clouds. Maybe that's cloud seeding. But in any event, that is your fun weather fact for the day. All right, so now we're going to talk about the severe weather threat over the next few days, uh, over the next really 2 days. So Friday, Saturday, not till we get into Sunday until we start to see a potential for severe weather again. And right now it's just a marginal risk here around the intersection of Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. This is where there's a chance of severe weather. Looks like mostly a wind threat if anything emerges from this, but we're going to watch it over the next couple of days. There's some discrepancies in the modeling that has a little bit more in the way of wind shear aloft. So we'll see. Cape looks to be kind of marginal in these areas. So that's our instability or our fuel for thunderstorms. And so we'll see. And then the larger threat, we sort of speculated yesterday that it wouldn't surprise me to see this threat extend into the Tennessee Valley, and it has. Yesterday it was kind of out here. And so the best combination of moisture return and dynamics will lead to a heightened severe threat in this area as we get through the weekend. This is Sunday into Monday. So we don't know the exact nature of this threat yet, though it looks to be more on the wind side, although we could see a little bit of a tornado threat develop if we can get some low-level backing of the winds and some stronger wind shear aloft. That's still TBD, but we'll watch this. This is your day 4 threat, and we will continue to watch it as we go in. If we take a kind of a closer look at some of the parameters here, what's kind of driving this. So looking at this is we'll start here with the European model in terms of its lightning display to show us where it thinks the thunderstorms are going to be. This is Saturday evening. So Saturday evening, you get a little bit of storms firing where we saw that marginal risk out here, in kind of that intersection of those 4 states we talked about before: Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas. So we're going to move this on forward. And you see that kind of moves up and kind of dies out over time as it gets on into the evening, into the overnight hours. It sort of diminishes as it gets on into Tennessee. And then we'll see a renewed resurgence of that as we get into the day on Sunday. So Sunday afternoon, looking at around 1, 2, 3, we start to see showers and storms develop, and that works into Euro's not really showing a lot here in Tennessee, but GFS has, and I expect we'll see better returns than what the Euro is showing here through up into Tennessee. But to Texas, Louisiana, around the Arklatex, that's where you're really seeing these storms sort of pop off. And then they sort of develop into this, what we call a mesoscale convective complex, where everything kind of takes on a linear mode and then translates off to the east, in this case to the east and south, gets out into the Gulf, gets out of view. So that's what the weather's looking like. So it looks like mostly a wind threat. When you start to see lines, typically that's your hallmark indicator that you were looking at more of a wind threat there. But any discrete cells that take advantage of the environment where there might be some low-level backing could spin up a tornado. So we'll watch and see. Cape doesn't look tremendous up here over Oklahoma and Arkansas for the first sort of threat. You're getting values into the 800s, so that's okay if you've got good wind shear aloft. The wind shear aloft is not tremendous in this case. That's why we've kind of got a slight risk, and that we move that along. It gets a little bit better through time, and then we get on to Sunday afternoon where you start to really see the activity firing here in the Arklatex. That's where we're going to start to see the stronger threat of storms. When you start to get Cape values in the 1500s, 2000, that's generally much better in terms of fuel, and so that diminishes as the line moves out. Wind shear, so we're looking at our 500 millibar jet stream. That's way up high in the atmosphere, about to 18,000 feet. The big jet max is way up here over the Great Lakes in Midwest, and so if we put this on into motion, look at Sunday afternoon, you don't see a lot of upper level wind energy here. So that's number one. That doesn't look like a severe weather outbreak. When I see a lack of a jet in this area, that tells me that there's not going to be a major severe weather outbreak, most likely. 850 millibars, so we'll pull this back a little bit. We work in through Sunday afternoon. You get a little bit of a jet max here, and this is a pretty strong jet coming in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Sunday morning, and then it sort of dies out Sunday afternoon, kind of when the main thunderstorm activities taking place. So you do have some level of a jet here, but it's not all that strong. So the threat's a little bit conditional, I think. Still got enough instability to use some of these winds upstairs and bring them down. So we'll see. That again, I think at this point in time, I'm not expecting a major severe weather outbreak here, but there is a chance for severe weather, and the Storm Prediction Center has noted that. And so we will keep our eyes on it over the next couple of days. Now, taking a quick peek at the long range, we're going to see here, I've already rolled it all the way forward. Let's roll it back. This is our system moving off the East Coast. And so as we get on through time, you can see the European model coming in. We've been looking at the 23rd and the 24th kind of as our target time frame. And you see that playing out here on the European. So we've still got this low pressure that moves into Minnesota, deepens, brings some snow on the backside and the cold side. And then you've got a line of showers and thunderstorms. This is what is the National or the Storm Prediction Center is kind of looking at in terms of our severe threat next Sunday into Monday. And then that all slides off, as you can see. Nice little windstorm up here with some light snow around that system up in the northern Great Lakes, showers along the East Coast. And then we just have a few systems kind of diving out of the northwest. That'll spawn, if there's enough moisture in here, we'll see some more showers and thunderstorms kind of develop Wednesday into Thursday of next week. And then the European actually cranks a low off the coast, driving some snow back in. The GFS has showed some of this too, where you get these systems diving out and producing some snow for the mid-Atlantic and up into New England. So we'll see if any of that plays out. It's going to be colder than normal here for the next week or so, once the system moves by over into the next maybe 6, 7, 8 days. So we could see some snow in places that we used to maybe get snow a lot more than we do now in March, in late March. So we'll keep our eyes on the northern mid-Atlantic, particularly into New England, to see if any snow develops, legitimate snow threats develop over the next couple of weeks. You'd see another system kind of diving through. And then I was really looking at the end of March into early April too, to see when our next system would come through. So we're looking at March 30th here. Europeans got something there, and then it kind of drives in another system through April. This is one I'm kind of a little bit more concerned about it being something in that March 31st, April 2nd kind of time frame. And you can see here the GFS has something similar. It just evolves it differently, kind of like what we saw yesterday. But this would be another big weather maker. Severe weather up here in the northern plains. If we can get a return flow out of the Gulf, more severe weather along the south as well. And then heavy snow again, blizzard conditions up here, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Man, we've seen a lot of these this year. This pretty strong system, 987 millibars. And then another system is taking shape at the end of the period, April the 4th. That is your continued active pattern for March. I mean, we're just seeing the jet stream poking into, I tweeted about it this morning, the jet's just running into the West Coast. And it might deviate for a little bit of time. We'll get a little ridging here in the West and troughing in the East and a little vice versa. But generally speaking, that jet is just plowing into the West. And when it does that, you get heavy rains out here in California, up into Oregon, Seattle, higher elevations picking up a boatload of snow. Storms come across trek across here in the plains. They get in the Midwest, they draw up moisture, they deepen at times, so you get more precipitation along the East Coast. And we've seen a couple of these little secondary systems off the coast develop along the front as it moves through. And so that's what you're seeing here on the European ensembles. The GFS ensemble footprint is almost exactly the same. And so that is it. The only other thing I wanted to show, and I don't have it here, so we're just going to get it right now, is we're going to look at our temperatures, our 5-day averages. Okay, so this is March the 21st through March the 26th, kind of average to below in the east, warmer out west. And every time we advance it, it moves the block of days. So this is just an average over 5 days. So March the 22nd through March the 27th, we got the same sort of scenario, average to above average out west, and then below to average to below in the east. And that's our kind of core time period here. From the 23rd to the 28th, we're looking at below average temperatures. So that's our good time frame. Anywhere from the 23rd to the 30th is when we're looking at potential snow. Maybe into April 1st is where we're looking at snow along the East Coast, if we can get those systems to take the right trajectory. Then warming up in the plains and across the south, and then we finally get to where it's just sort of average to a low across the north, above average across the south. And so this tends to lead to systems crashing into the west, as we've seen. So that is your long range outlook. Before we get to our trivia answer, I wanted to just do a quick Cold Rain's Corner, which is a segment that I do when I want to tell you about something or talk about something. Could be weather related or not, but today it's something that I wanted to expand on. We always ask you, when you watch YouTube, you always hear people say, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, give it a like, share it, comment. The reason that that is done is because the YouTube algorithm takes all of that interaction with the video as a sign that people are engaging with that content, and it wants to push out content that people like and engage with. So when a new channel starts like mine, there's not a lot of subscribers, there's not that many people engaging with the video, and it doesn't get pushed out to very many people. It's a very, very slow, long, arduous process, which I expect, and that's just part of the game when you develop a YouTube channel. But that's why we ask for it. So if you like this content, hit the like button, make a quick comment in the comment section, and hit the subscribe button. And what that does is it tells the algorithm that people actually like this content, and it will start to push it out to more people so more people can see it. And hopefully it's something that people enjoy and can find informative. And there's a lot of these weather shows that are out there. So you can go to Ryan Hill or Max Ferocity or my friend Mitchell West and Gerald Mingle and some other folks. And there's plenty of other ones too. And those are good shows. They are. Everybody's kind of got their own different take on how they present. I try to, my goal is to tend to give you a little bit more in the way of some of the education behind why things happen, as opposed to just telling you, here's the forecast and here's the next thing and here's the next thing. I want you to kind of understand it. So when you hear terminology or you're perusing social media, you can kind of understand what's going on. And so I try to do that a little bit, so the show tends to maybe run a little longer. Plus, we do little fun segments like trivia and things. I want to make it entertaining. A lot of times in the summer, the weather's boring. There's just nothing going on. And so you can tune in and see a whole bunch of nothing. It's hot, 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 dry, 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 dry. But we can, still have a little fun together and enjoy the company. And so if you enjoy the show, I say all that to just say, interact with it, hit like, hit subscribe, share it with friends and family that you think would find valuable. And, I enjoy doing it, and hopefully it's valuable to you to some degree. And hopefully we can have some fun together and grow the channel together. We're at 197 subscribers. I'd like to get up to 2, 3, 4, 500. That'd be fun. So anyway, that's that. Trivia answer. We'll get right to it. And so here it is. What phenomenon causes the halo around the sun or the moon? Ice crystals, or I'm sorry, I'm reading the answers wrong. Dust storms, pollutants, sunspots, or ice crystals in cirrostratus clouds. And that, of course, is your answer. Ice crystals, cirrus clouds are made up of ice crystals, and they can come in different varieties. The clouds can. Cirrostratus is kind of a flat, uniform area of ice crystal type clouds, cirrus clouds. And when they occur, and you get a nice big moon, a full moon a lot, and you see it sometimes I've seen a couple of sun halos. You don't see those quite as much, but the light refracts around, and you get sort of a halo effect. And so I'll tell you, here's what it says. It says the official, I sort of described it, but here's the official thing. So a halo around the sun or the moon, also called a 22-degree halo, is an optical phenomenon caused by the refraction of light through ice crystals in high altitude cirrus clouds. So you already knew that because I told you that, but that's the official explanation. But the weather folklore states that a ring around the sun or moon means rain or snow is coming soon. And while it's not always accurate, these clouds tend to precede weather systems. Okay, so they precede weather systems and often moving ahead. And so you get a halo, and then a day or two later, you might see an actual event. In the wintertime, it's sometimes cold enough for snow. So that's where the weather folklore comes from. And so now you know about clouds, and you know about etiquette, and now you know the weather. So with that, this is Cold Rain reminding you that if other channels run 24/7, we got you covered 48/14. I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll see you back tomorrow. Have a blessed afternoon, and take care.